It's with a sad heart I rise in opposition because I do believe in those dreams, the dreams that the good senator from San Diego spoke of. But I have to thank the senator from Palo Alto and Concord because I think that they summarized it so eloquently when they talked about whether this is the right plan. I don't think this is a question about whether we want the best or to dream the best. I have a slightly different approach. You know, I have a lot of community meetings. I've traveled up and down the state. I've spoken to a lot of Californians. And the dream that I share with them is that they have a quality education, that they have access to the social network that our state should be providing. You know, my colleague who just spoke said that this money is going to create jobs and that there's no real cost to it. Of course there's cost to it. It's called opportunity cost. You see, that money that we spend today, our grandchildren pay tomorrow. It's that money, that $300 to $700 million out of our budget, each and every year for the next 30 years, that's going to deprive our children of the best education, a world-class education. We talk about a world-class train at the cost of poverty for the next generation. You know, this train should be lifting people up. It should be making them better. How do we know 30 years from now that we're even going to be using trains? You know, if we spent that same investment in our children and their education, there's nothing to say that we'll leapfrog that technology. If you were to go back 30 years ago and what our state offered and what we have today with cell phones and technology, we're in a whole different place. Let's not deprive our children of a quality education because today our ego wants us to have a world-class high-speed rail. That's 30 years of $700 million a year. 30 years. Some of us in this room won't be alive that long, but our children and grandchildren will be. What are we giving to them? I think that there's another issue. I think that, you know, when you think about our popularity as a legislature and how low it is, I believe a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have not been the best stewards of the taxpayers' money. I think that when you look and reflect over how we've spent money and what kind of return we've received, it's absolutely outrageous. And my colleague our colleague from Concord had touched upon Caltrans. Over the last 5 years, Caltrans has built or repaired fewer than 1,000 miles of road. And yet, at the same time, their budget has been $12 billion a year. We can do better. We can do better than this. I don't know how other members, maybe they come from very affluent districts, but my district's a very blue-collar district. And everyone gets up every day and goes to work and works hard. And they try to make ends meet. And to go back and tell them that we're going to hold their kids' education ransom with trigger cuts because we want to spend their education dollars on high-speed rail. I can't be part of that. That doesn't, you know, I love the idea of high-speed rail. I love technology. I want infrastructure. But it's got to be real. It's got to be sensible. It's got to be the right plan. This is not the right plan. Let's think in terms of, well, what would create jobs in Central Valley? Oh, that's right. That'd be a water bond that delivered water because, you see, farm workers aren't going to be building this high-speed rail. What they do is they grow the crops that feed our families. And yet, this does nothing to provide for them. You know, I was much more stinging in the assembly. We had a colleague who brought up this bill, and the first question I asked was a question of the author. And I asked her, how much water will it carry? And if this is a high-speed water train, then I could support it to Central Valley. And we all kind of got a chuckle. But I don't think it's humorous today, and I don't want to make light of it, because I think that this is a huge vote. I think that this is a vote that we're going to reflect on and that we're going to want to be proud of. And it's not going to be because we didn't believe in lofty plans and lofty ideas. But you know what I want for my district? I want jobs. I want education. I want a future, because I do believe, like our colleague had mentioned, that our best days are ahead of us. But that starts today. And that means we've got to vote for the right plan. And I don't see how ransoming our children's education by spending their money to indebt them later is a good plan. And for that reason, I'm with a sad heart, and I urge you to vote no.